and the Pirate Princess, Prologue. Once upon a time, there was a kingdom named Ivana. The queen of Ivana was Irene Butler. She had 2 daughters, twins but not identical. One named Olivia, the other Zoe. Olivia was a rule follower, and Zoe was a lively rule breaker. As they grew up, Zoe wanted nothing to do with royal things, but Olivia, on the other hand, loved everything about it. Zoe had strawberry blonde hair, baby blue eyes, and freckles. She was always interested in her classes at school, but not her royal classes. Zoe was the best student in all her classes, except, of course, her royal classes. She thought being outside was extremely enjoyable, and painting was one of her favorite hobbies. Olivia had raven black hair and green eyes. She never went outside, and she spent most of her time doing her hair and making sure she was still the princess with the biggest fan club. Despite their differences, they had one thing in common as they were growing up. They both spent their time pretending to be pirates. Olivia would be the captured princess, and Zoe would be the rebel pirate who saves her. Olivia had always loved her royal duties, but she always thought it would be fun to be taken away and have an adventure. Now, every queen eventually has to give up the throne. That's where we are in this story. Chapter 1, The Coronation. Ugh, Mom, why are we doing this? Whined Zoe, spinning around in a circle for her mom in a fluffy pink dress. It was a light pink strapless dress with a ring of flowers around the bottom. Her hair had a side braid with flowers struck through it. I think it's fun, said Olivia, turning and admiring herself in the mirror. She wore a shabbily dress and had her hair up in a big bun. Girls, it's all preparation for the coronation. You're twins, so I pick who's to be queen, said Irene. Remember, only 2 weeks till coronation. And with that, she strode out of the room and left the girls by themselves. You'll never win, said Olivia, turning around right as Irene shut the door. I don't want to win, and frankly, I wouldn't call it winning, said Zoe. Whatever, said Olivia. The next 2 weeks flew by. Olivia spent them making sure her outfit and hair were perfect. Zoe, on the other hand, spent the week studying for upcoming tests, and when coronation day came, she was nervous that she would get picked, but Irene was nowhere to be found. I guess we have to postpone the coronation, Zoe suggested hopefully. No, said Olivia, her heart set on being queen. We promised the kingdom a new queen, and we're going to give it to them. Little did the girls know that the queen was off wherever the ship that had just left the harbor was going. Chapter 2, Aboard a Pirate Ship. Arg, me mates, we found the treasure we've been looking for all our lives, chanted a man aboard the ship. Who's that? Asked Irene, shifting around in her bindings. She had been captured by pirates and was now being watched over by captain's best mate, Red Scurvy, as they called her. That's the captain. His name? Barry Bones. He's the roughest, toughest pirate of them all, said Red, looking at him admiringly. Barry was tall and looked strong, which he had proven when he single-handedly rowed the lifeboat from the harbor back to the boat. Barry's hair was brown and curly, and he had a long beard. He was untidy and unkempt. Barry wore knee-high black boots with golden buckles. He had a white shirt that was torn at the edges with a red captain's jacket over it. He was wearing jeans like the rest of the crew. Well, it was a bad time to be captured. It's coronation, you know, said Irene proudly. That's why you need you here today, said Red. What? Said Irene while she was being dragged downstairs to talk to the captain. The captain's cabin was small and dusty, with one table set up in the middle. He had maps spread out around the wall and one on the table. There was a bed in the corner that looked as if it would hold Barry for only a couple more days. Irene was tied up to a pole that seemed to be specifically for this reason. Next to her was a shelf that looked as if it might fall over any time if the boat rocked hard enough. Leave us, Red, said the captain, and with that, Red ran out of the cabin, shutting the door behind her. Now let's get down to business. I brought you here because I promised my crew a treasure worth their while, but I found nothing. So I got something everyone could benefit from, even you. I have arranged a wedding tomorrow at our final destination. Afterwards, we will return home, and I will have the reward for finding the queen, and we will have another marriage. How will that benefit all of you and me, said Irene. My crew gets the reward, I get to be king, and you get an amazing new husband, said Barry, stroking her cheek. The girl's coronation is today, said Irene, a little too confidently, thinking she had outsmarted Barry. Oh, and who's getting coronated? Asked Barry, a sly grin starting to spread on his face. Well, I never told them, said Irene, starting confidently, but then slowing down, realizing her mistake. That's what I thought, said Barry, leaving confidently. Chapter 3, Saving Queen Irene. Mom would never leave on Coronation Day. Ever, said Zoe with a confused, worried, and determined face. I'm going to check her room surveillance cameras, said Zoe, opening up her Ingy. That was the computer brand in Ivana. She went to the window seat in the lavender room. Olivia's bed was on the left and Zoe's on the right. When she pulled up the last hour footage, she dropped the computer on the floor, which made Olivia jump and get lipstick all over her face. What was that? Exclaimed Olivia, jumping up to her sister's side. Look at the camera, stammered Zoe. Olivia picked up the computer and watched the footage. She eventually switched to the outside camera and watched the pirates carry away their mom to a fate that would surely end in death. Then Zoe got up and started packing her travel bag. She had always hoped to use it, and now was her chance. What are you doing? Asked Olivia, a look of disgust on her face from the thought of actually doing work. I'm going to save Mom. Maybe she'll pick me to coronate instead of you, said Zoe slyly. Olivia frowned at this, but then realized she was right. Okay, I'm coming, said Olivia, pushing Zoe out of the way and heading out. We need the boat, and meet us at the harbor in half an hour, Zoe said to the first maid she saw, Emily. Oh, okay, stammered Emily, running out. They met her there at the scheduled time. With the half an hour, they had gathered food and water enough for the journey. They rode the waves for hours on end. They were almost out of food and water. Then, right out of the blue, a shape appeared in the sky. It was a pirate ship. There, exclaimed Zoe. Turn the boat. Go to it. Mom must be there. Chapter 4, Captured. Swish, 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 and clink. Yay! Yelled Zoe and Olivia. They had thrown a grappling hook, and it had caught one of the lower windows. I'll go first, said Zoe, grabbing the rope and pulling herself up the window. Mom, she's in here. Come on, Olivia, come help, shouted Zoe, running over to her mom. Olivia climbed in and helped Zoe untie Irene. Thank you all so much, said Irene, hugging them both and then heading out the window. Not so fast, said Barry. He had snuck in and had two of his best mates by him, Red and a man named Willie Wetlegs. They were all holding ropes. Red came over with Willie and tied up Zoe and Olivia, but Barry couldn't get to Irene fast enough. When he reached the window, Irene was already out and paddling away. What they hadn't noticed was swirling clouds and a storm brewing. The waves were picking up. Mom, come back! The waves are too high, don't risk it! Shouted Zoe and Olivia in unison. But Irene didn't hear and kept going. Then a wave too high for the boat to stand came over and Irene was swept to sea. No! Shouted Olivia and Zoe in unison. Again. They fell to the ground with disbelief and were dragged into the corner of the captain's cabin. Wake up! Olivia, wake up! Said Zoe, waking from being knocked out when they were put in the corner. What? What's going on? Mumbled Olivia. Shh, I hear somebody, whispered Zoe. I'm going to Nevaran and the neighboring kingdom to capture their queen. It was the voice of Very Bones. Sir, then who's going to be the captain? It was Red. They sounded as if they were right outside the cabin. You are, Red. You are. What? Me? Thank you, yelled Red. They heard the captain's footsteps across the boat and then over into the lifeboat. Clink, 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 sploosh. He had been lowered into the water and was rowing away. Guys, are you awake? Said Red, coming into the captain's cabin and untying them. Yeah, we heard everything. What are you doing? Said Zoe, always the first to ask the questions. I didn't want to capture you. He threatened to make me walk the plank. The waters were picking up, and I knew I would surely die if I tried to swim to the harbor. So I went along with it. I knew that if I let the queen escape, he would have to leave, and I could let you guys out of your chains. I can't let you go back to Havana, but when a certain time's come, I will let you guys free at a place no one will go. I can't tell you now, so don't ask. When the time comes, you will be the first to know of our emergency stop. For now, you will be trained as pirates, Red said. She had been the captain's first mate, but had betrayed him for the better. She was a kind soul, and was now going to help them survive on the boat. Chapter 5, Life as a Pirate. Days as a pirate were boring at first for the girls. They were lookouts, but every now and then, they would trade off with Red, and Red would show them a thing or two about steering the wheel. Zoe was interested in the wheel, but Olivia liked watching the sea up high in the sky. Soon the girls forgot about their royal lives and began to embrace their childhood dreams of being pirates. They were good friends with Red, so they slept in the captain's cabin with her. Before they went to bed, they would ask Red where they were going and when, but Red would never say anything. Then one day, something odd happened. Zoe, turn the boat south, instructed Red. What? You said never turn the boat south, cried Zoe. Unless I told you to, and I think I just told you to, said Red. Okay, said Zoe, turning the wheel uneasily. The rest of the day went on normally, but the next morning was just as strange. Red sat on a lifeboat and told the man secret instructions on what to do. He was gone for 3 weeks, and every day he was gone, Olivia spent extra careful attention to the sea. Then one day she saw him rowing, tired and worn out, towards the boat. Man ahoy! She yelled over the boat. They hoisted him up over the side of the boat. It is done. Wet Willie came out of the boat. What's done? Exclaimed Zoe and Olivia. The captain is dead. Of course, I didn't kill him. The filly rats poisoned him. I don't know how, said Willie, climbing out of the lifeboat and onto the ship. Now to Pirates Town, exclaimed Red. This is where we'll drop you off. You can't go back to Havana, and now you've proven yourself worthy pirates. I was thinking that you might want to be pirate captains. Pirates Town is where anybody wishing to find a crew goes. You can get a boat there too. We'll pay. Thank you, exclaimed Zoe and Olivia. They were downstairs and packed up in a flash. In just a short few minutes, they were dropped off at Pirates Town. Red got out and helped them find a boat. Pirates Town was full of little alleys and didn't have a pleasant feel about it. They walked down a narrow street and eventually came to a shop called Boats and Beauties. They entered and immediately walked out a back door. They were let out at the other side of the harbor, and ships had lined up there ready to sail. They searched for hours and eventually found the perfect one. It was called the Mermaid. It had a wooden mermaid painted gold on the front. The ship had a captain's cabin and a cabin that was almost as big as it. The masts had golden seashell on it. The Mermaid, very threatening, said Zoe, a hint of sarcasm in her voice. I think it's wonderful, said Olivia happily. And so they bought it. Goodbyes were hard. Red had helped them come so far and was now buying them a boat. You just need to find a crew, which will be easy. Here, said Red, tears in her eyes. Start with a small crew, 5 or 6 men. Goodbye, said Red, hugging them. When Red left the harbor, they started searching for a new crew. They found only 3 men, but they knew it would do. One nicknamed Sea Pounder, another Grinder, and the last Salty Sam. They formed a crew and went off on the sea. They were all sea-ready and tough enough to last through long sea storms. The men told Olivia and Zoe why they came to Pirates Town, and that Pirates Town had many attacks from the filly rats. They knew they needed to take down the filly rats. They spent many years planning, and then one day took them down. Olivia and Zoe then returned to Pirates Town and got more mates and realized what Red had said was true. The ship was famous, and everyone wanted to be a mate on their ship. From then on, they had plenty of mates and was never taken down in a battle. The end.
Excellent. Can you look at the camera for me and tell me what your name is and the name of your story?
I'm Charlotte, and my name of the story is The Pirate Princess.
Wonderful. Thank you, Charlotte.